Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. And days are flying by. Days are flying by, but it feels like we just did this. We just did this.
I feel like a music DJ where this is the break from the real job, you know?
ESPNTallahassee.com, where you go to listen live via the streaming, free as always. If you miss portions of the show, just remember all 3 hours posted every day upon the conclusion of the show on iTunes and in our own audio vault. You can always email the show, jcs979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter at jcameronshow, WTSM app, good for your mobile devices as well. And we're on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee. At least today's first hour is. After that, it's Seminole Headlines, as we're wanting to do on these Lawn Maintenance Tuesday editions of the program, at least in the off-season. Now, officially next week, you get kind of double the content, as we'll do full shows and give you headlines as well, as the return of Seminole football is nearly upon us. And you know, it's interesting. Jimbo will talk tonight after practice, and it's really the first time that we'll be hearing from him in quite some time. I'm curious to see kind of where he goes with that conversation. Will he catch us up to speed as to not only how camp's gone and where we're at this close to a game, but also the injuries and other people who are out for reasons that it might not involve injuries, but nonetheless not available. So we'll see just where this team is at this juncture. It's enough to make you a little nervous. We'll see. Hearing some interesting reports that there's a good chance Matthew Thomas will be back. That, according to Ira Schafel from WarChant.com, earlier today when I talked with him during Seminole Headlines. You know, that's a buoying news, because that's not the feeling I was getting.
No, and one would think, you know, that the lack of media availabilities and the changing of the schedules. It's not like they were shut out the entire time for the entirety of the weekend and then they'll be brought back today. You're delaying another day. You think maybe that means bad news is on the other end of it. We already can speculate openly now about Bavion Johnson, because there's been reports that a knee surgery has happened, and now it just is whether or not he's going to be out for the season or if he'll be out for most of the season. But you thought that something like an eligibility concern, an injury, a flu, whatever it is with Matthew Thomas, that would be the reason that this would be delayed. But here we are today, and hopefully the good news comes. That would be great.
It would be huge. It would, because unlike Bavion Johnson, who isn't in the starting lineup and was maybe only going to be if he played his way in there maybe halfway through the season, or if there were an injury, Matthew Thomas is a bona fide starter.
But we did like Bavion's chances. I mean, not to, you know, put the backup ahead of the starter in terms of the pecking order, but we did like his chances to be
I thought at some point he'd be in there. Yeah, I did. I thought at some point he'd be in there. You know, without being able to see camp, we can't know on a daily basis just how much he was surging or not. But he's a guy that was so highly touted, the fans are anxious to see him. And at the same time, it is maybe a little unfair in that he's only a redshirt freshman. So you know, it takes a little time to get out there. But I hope he's not hurt too bad, because in that sense, it stunts your growth. How about that, right? So did you see this? It's Rozier winning the starting job for the Canes. I think some of their fans are disappointed by that.
Well, they wanted Perry, right?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
You might as well go all in on the youth movement, kind of like what Virginia Tech is doing in that same division, where Fuente said, you know what? Here's a guy I recruited, and let's go with the redshirt freshman, and if we have to grow through the 2017 season, then so be it. And rather than giving the incumbent, so to speak, or the veteran leader in the clubhouse an opportunity to fail and then you replace him in October anyway, why not go all in early? I'm sure that's how they feel.
I thought it was interesting that Kelly Bryant was named the starter for Clemson. I asked Dabo Swinney specifically about whether or not a guy like Hunter Johnson could beat him out, or Zarek Cooper. And so they've got really talented young quarterbacks that remind people of that scenario where Cole Stout got the start despite the fact that they had Deshaun Watson. And I wouldn't say that Dabo was prickly with me when I asked that question, but he was very thorough in his answer about how that situation is different than this situation, and et cetera. But I think Clemson fans don't foresee Kelly Bryant leading them to greatness, but rather one of the young guys down the line. So it's interesting. Now, he was the most experienced of the two. He spent the last 2 years backing up Deshaun Watson, it would stand to reason he should know and have a better grasp of that offense.
The one place that this is a similar situation for Clemson especially is that they have big-name opponents early. I mean, Florida State was earlier in the schedule in 2014, and certainly they started the season playing Georgia in Athens on a Saturday. And this year for Clemson in weeks 2 and 3, they face Auburn and Louisville. So one would think if you want to throw somebody's feet to the fire, you might as well name him the starter and get it over with. That's a discussion that we had a few weeks ago. You might as well go all in, see what the kid's got. But then again, he may be playing for November. I don't know.
Well, Kelly Bryant had a good camp, according to Dabo, and he was 14 of 20 in the last scrimmage for a touchdown and almost 200 yards. Maybe he just outplayed those guys for now, and it's a no-brainer. But we'll see. As it pertains to teams in the ACC and their quarterback situation, you might be tuning in saying, "Why are you talking about Miami? Why are you talking about Clemson?" Well, we play both, and you are going to want to know who are winning these jobs. It's interesting. Right down the road at Florida, there's still debate about who's going to win that job, whether it's Zaire or Felipe Franks, or Del Rio, for that matter. And, it's interesting, depending on who you talk to on that beat, they all have a different opinion about where that quarterback battle's going. And what it does do is remind me that it's good to have stability at the most important position on the field. There is no question as to who Florida State's quarterback is, only a question about how big a step forward does he take.
Yeah, and this gets into, again, coaching philosophies, which is how do you want to govern the development of a young player? Jimbo often says you can ruin a kid if you put him in situations too early and he fails, because then he goes into a shell and good luck developing that player moving forward. But clearly in, Blacksburg, the answer is one thing. It's I'm going to go with this young player, like we did last year with DeAndre Francois with a tough schedule right out the box. And in Miami, it's a different answer. In Clemson, it's a different answer. It's, well, let's go with the experienced hand. Obviously, Miami's solution, that kid played against Duke, I believe it was, that Duke game where you had the 8 lateral play that was completely illegal that they made T-shirts about and still celebrate.
Yeah.
Because,
well, it's a big win.
Well, Miami-Duke is now a budding rivalry.
Very big win for Miami's program.
And then in Clemson, it's a kid who's had some snaps and mop-up duty for Deshaun. But still, I mean, it's a hard balance. You don't want to ruin young talent, but you know that young talent's ceiling is way higher than the guy that you're naming the starting quarterback.
It's a hard thing because you're going to suffer some losses as they learn the position, and it's hard to say to fans you need to treat him well, even when he's in the midst of having these poor games where maybe he throws 4 picks and it unravels on him because we're sticking by him through thick and thin. He's our future.
Well, and it's really hard, too, for the veteran quarterback. See Sean McGuire last year. It's like, okay, we were wrong about Everett. Sorry about that, Sean. So maybe this can be your – oh, well, no, you never mind, Sean. We're going to play DeAndre, the redshirt freshman here, even though you've been here for 85 years. Let's go with the younger kid because he has a higher ceiling. It's got to be hard because every time the veteran player makes a mistake, what's the talking point? It's about the young superstar backup quarterback.
I think this, though, I always think that players know. Players know. They're at practice every day. They practice with these guys. They get a good look. Players know who are the other players. Game recognizes game. And if you got a kid who's just better and more talented than another player, I mean, the guys on the field are very well aware of that. And you can actually affect morale negatively if you end up playing favorites with a veteran, despite the fact that he's quite clearly not the best option. You see these kinds of things.
Or sometimes the younger player is the better player, but he's not the locker room's guy.
Right.
And so you can't play the younger
Coaches
player.
have a challenging job, don't they?
They do.
Yes, they do. It's something to think about whenever you hear about these quarterback competitions and the decisions that are made within them. Hey, by the way, this Friday, again, just a few days from right now, we will take part with our 6th annual Libations Friday Fest listener appreciation party. We do it every year. We have since I've come over to ESPN. And it's one of my favorite events, just a chance to say hello and to welcome back football and to kind of sit back and have a tall, cold one with you guys and appreciation for your support. We've been able to, it's not customary on radio broadcasts that the host is talking in any way about great ratings and success stories and those kinds of things. But this has been, again, the most successful talk show in Tallahassee for a long time now, and that's because of you guys. And I don't lose sight of that. Without your support, it wouldn't be possible. So this is our big way of saying thank you very, very much. And hopefully you'll come out and we'll be able to thank you in person. We've got giveaways at 6 o'clock on Friday at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. Full Press Apparel, our friends have been doing T-shirts with us for years. This year, no different. We'll be able to give away, as we did just a year ago, a shirt that commemorates the occasion, if you will. Everybody gets that for free just for coming. Well, everybody. It depends on how many people show up, right? I mean, we've had years where it got excessive,
and
which is cool.
We think we've got the sizes down to a pretty good science, but you never know.
Pretty close.
You know, the listeners change year to year. And then also, when you walk in, you get a free ticket to the raffle at the end of the event, which includes the following prizes.
2 dinners for 2 to Saltwater Seafood Company, 8 6-packs of craft brew from our friends at Cigar City and Oscar Blues. Woo! That's a good one. 2 rounds of golf for 4 at Killearn Country Club, $25 gift cards, 2 of them, in fact, to Metro Deli. 2 office lunches for 10 to 12 catered by our friends at Jersey Mike's. Thank you so much. 2 $30 gift cards to Games for Less. George has been good to us for years. That's locally owned. And Madden is out. And you could use those $30 gift cards, could you not? A private golfing lesson with PGA professional Butch Bundy over there at Killearn. He's great. 30-minute private lesson. He'll get you straightened out. WarChant.com is chipping in as well with a VIP pack, an annual subscription to WarChant, plus a WarChant.com T-shirt and a tumbler, which you can drink your beverages out of. And 2 100-wing, 3 domestic pitcher wing feasts at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. And with more to come, we've got some people on the line that want to be part of this, and we'll tell you more about it. But once it's inked, I'll be able to officially announce all of that. So it's a good time and a lot of great people involved. This Friday, 6 o'clock, let's welcome football back. Let us say thank you to you, and let's have these conversations that we have annually.
Yeah, once again, you know, the raffle at the end, that's free too. You walk in, you get a T-shirt, you get a ticket. So it's not like you got to sign up or give us your money in order to participate in the raffle. It's your chance to win for free because we love you.
True, indeed. Yep. Even the more annoying people, we still have some. There's a little bit of love there.
You appreciate their gangster.
Yeah, you need them too, right? Yeah. Oh, it's good stuff. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Blountstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford. The place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Visit MMTCFL.com.
To the pylon! That's a Seminoles touchdown!
The new Fox and Stag, Tallahassee's local craft cocktail bar in the heart of Midtown on Thomasville Road and 5th Avenue, featuring a newly expanded liquor menu including limited release scotches, whiskeys, and bourbons, as well as unique spirits distilled right here in Florida. If wine is your thing, swing by and try one of Fox and Stag's hand-selected bottles from their ever-expanding wine list, or simply enjoy one by the glass paired with a charcuterie board or delicious small plates. Sometimes you just want a cold beer, and Fox and Stag has you covered too, with rotating drafts and bottles sure to quench your thirst. Come by for a drink and stay for the company, Tuesday through Saturday from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. For catering or private parties, message Fox and Stag on Facebook.
At Whole Foods Market, we believe in real food. Food that's full of nutrients, naturally vivid and colorful, fresh and delicious. Food that connects you to your body, to the seasons, and to the natural world. We believe food should nourish you and help you think. It should help you feel calm, clear-headed, and strong. It should help you do more, sleep better, and wake up happier. That's food that lives up to its name. We believe in real food. Whole Foods Market.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, this is Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. No one besides us wants to hear that you need a new roof. It's one of the biggest home improvements you have to make, and Parker Brothers Roofing understands. We now offer financing for 0% over 60 months. Yes, that's 5 years. Call us today for 5 years interest-free financing on that new roof. 656-8112. That's 656-8112, or go to parkerbrothersroofing.net.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Brent, this month's topic is classic song lyrics. You ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Here's a lyric. American history, practical math. You study them hard and hoping to pass.
It's from School Days by the great Chuck Berry. He wrote and recorded so many great hits.
You mean like TNT Supercenter sells and services so many top golf cart brands with an enormous selection all under one roof?
TNT Supercenter customers can compare the top golf cart brands side by side. Club Car, Yamaha, Star EV, and the ultimate hunting vehicle to beat. TNT Supercenter has the largest selection of carts in the area. Pre-owned carts starting at just $19.99. New carts with a 4-year warranty starting at just $49.99. And at TNT, our service center and service technicians are trained, certified, and authorized for every brand we sell.
And there's plenty of parts and accessories too, right?
Our parts inventory is huge, and we'll dress up your existing cart with a full line of Mad Jack's premium accessory products like seat kits, light kits, lift kits, and now for a limited time, save 20% on all Mad Jack's parts and accessories.
TNT Supercenter, US 19 South, next to Dairy Queen in Thomasville, and online at TNTSupercenter.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
That's true. I hadn't thought about it, but we do owe it to you. We'll make it happen. I had this question asked of me by Andrew. And he wants to know, I know it's the first week of football, even though we're off. Can we expect the final edition of W's and L's this week or next? And Andrew, I went with next. Yeah, we're definitely doing next, the week of the game.
Got a feel for, what the depth chart looks like, how everybody shakes out from a health standpoint. You got to get as much information as possible.
Yeah, you can't go all in on that final W's and L's prediction unless you're sure of who's where and why and what the prognosis is for anywhere that there is a question, right? You have to have a good sense of what's going to happen there. So most notably, I need to know that starting five on the offensive line. I need to know if Matthew Thomas is eligible at linebacker. I need a lot of things. But let me tell you, I'm gonna warn you, Andrew. No matter what I know, even if they are all positive in terms of players available and relative health of this football team, I know I'm picking Alabama to win this first game. I don't have to leave you on edge there. I think Florida State is going to lose this football game, and I think they may do so significantly. How about them apples?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Well, what do you want me to lie? You want me to tell people that I feel great when I don't? I can't do that. I don't feel great about the matchup. I feel like, though, once again, and I want to reiterate this, that if Florida State is to fall, it doesn't mean it's going to be a bad year at all. It means that Florida State is just not as good as Alabama right now, which, okay, I can live with that. I'm not happy about it, but I can live with it. And the thing of it is, again, I suspect – and we all say these things barring injury, of course. You almost have to always throw in that caveat. But I suspect this is going to be a real good football team and that they're going to go on and have a great season. I just don't think they're ready to beat Alabama yet. Alabama plays in these games, and they play them very, very well. And they're consistently good year in and year out in these matchups to start the season. When they play average and they beat somebody by 14 to 21 points, we're kind of stunned. So much so that we point to that thing, that result, as a reason to believe. But they have pretty well stomped ass against the better teams around the country that they have faced in these first game neutral site contests.
This is true. They're replacing an awful lot.
And every year they replace those people with other five-star kids who were probably the best player in their state and are online to be NFL draft picks. That's what they do. So that's where their distinct advantage in recruiting comes into play. You may have a top 5 recruiting ranking pretty consistently, but if you look at Alabama's consistency as having the number 1 class, the amount of 5 stars, the difference of their talent and the depth of it, it's not even close. And that's why those guys are so easily able, or so it seems, coupled with the best coach in college football, to rebound year in and year out, even when they lose vital pieces to the puzzle.
May as well explore it then. Over under 13.5 point loss to Alabama.
I'd probably lean over.
Over?
I think Alabama would probably beat us by a couple touchdowns.
Coach Spurrier.
Yeah, a couple touchdowns.
Over under 16.5 points.
Did you say 60? You said 16?
16. May as well have, apparently.
Why would 34-17 be so stunning?
May as well not show up.
I mean, why would 34-17 be bad? If it's a relatively close game for much of the contest, we get worn down, we're unable to consistently put something together on offense, and eventually our defense is on the field for too long, that'd be a 17-point loss, which is more than your 16.5, and there would be no shame in it, and you'd feel fine. You'd be all right. Now, I get what a defeatist attitude that sounds like. And if we're going to wear the garnet and gold here for the moment and be an actual Noel and look at it that way as opposed to attempting to objectively talk about what I think is going to happen in this game, 34-17, is, damn, man, I would have liked to have won this game. It's disappointing. I don't want people to think for a second that when I say these things, I don't find it frustrating to have to say them. I do. But I fight to try to be fair and as objective as I can be. I mean, we're pretty open and honest about what we are, but I try to be as objective as possible. And right now, I don't like the matchup. I don't think we're going to win. I don't think Florida State's going to win the game. And I wouldn't be surprised if not only do they not win the game, but if it's not all that close. If you watch this game and it was 41-20, would you be stunned? I don't think so. I'm much more interested in how the result happens as opposed to the result itself. The L can happen in a lot of ways. Same with the win, for that matter. I mean, frankly, there's a weird scenario by which we could win the game and I wouldn't be all that excited. Like the Ole Miss game a year ago, where I was pretty pissed after we won the game. I mean, I was happy. In the moment, you're elated. A win's a win is a win, and you can fix your problems after a win, and it's a lot easier than fixing them after a loss, and you can emotionally get past it pretty quickly when you walk off that field victorious. But if we give up a ton of points and guys are out of position again, and there's mass confusion again, and yet Florida State wins the game, I'll still walk away going, when the hell are we ever going to figure this out on defense, right? So there are a million different scenarios where how games happen, and so you have to see them, digest them, and talk about them later. But if Florida State plays well, and their starting 22, if you will, are good, and they match up with Bama, and it's a very competitive game, but maybe you turn it over once inside your 20, you give up some easy points that way. Maybe there's a fatigue factor where your offense is just unable to sustain drives and that defense is on the field too often. They get worn down, and Alabama ends up having their way with you in the fourth quarter. But prior to that, it was sound, fundamentally strong, well-executed defense. That's one way to lose a game, and then there's obviously the way we lost the Louisville game. So
I just feel like if the 22 starters play well, like if they play well, then we're going toe-to-toe with these guys. We're going toe-to-toe with them.
Okay, so I want to know, do you think, because this is something that I've thought about, it's the line of scrimmage. That's it. That's all I'm thinking about is the line of scrimmage, both sides. The line of scrimmage. I'm not thinking about wide receiver against corner. I'm not thinking about linebackers and safeties. I'm thinking about the line of scrimmage, okay? I believe that Florida State loses that battle on both sides in this game, and that is not something you can recover from.
Okay. Well, if you believe that, then you must believe the outcome to be what it is.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think we're going to lose the line of scrimmage on both sides, then it's no shock that we're going to lose by 2 scores, maybe 17 points.
Yeah.
But if we win our fair share of battles,
which, again,
we did against Michigan, didn't we? Didn't we win our fair share of battles?
Yeah. I think Alabama.
Dropping 30 points on
I feel like Alabama would have blown Michigan out, too. Michigan, so what, Michigan? They lost to Iowa.
With all the experience that defense brought to the table, the offense was the thing that hindered Michigan. I'm just talking about our offense against their defense.
Well, we were real good for about a quarter and a half, and then it got very stagnant there for much of that football game. We did a lot of damage early.
But that's what it looks like when you win, your fair share of battles and you do enough. We did score 30.
Alabama's a lot better than Michigan, in my opinion. And
Alabama's, listen, I hear you from a top-to-bottom talent standpoint, but if you combine the lack of experience across that defense and the talent that Alabama has against the total experience that Michigan had, I mean total, to go along with the talent that it did and sent off to the next level. Our offensive line at least got to see, bullets from men. That's a real man's defense that they went up against.
I think you're confused. You're not confusing, but you're making the case. What I'm saying to anybody who hears this, I'm not telling you that I don't think Florida State can win, and I'm not telling you that I'd be shocked if Florida State won. But as we sit here today, objectively, I don't think Florida State will win. I'm not picking them to win. I've got Alabama winning the game. Yeah, football games, they got to play them, right? And so Florida State could go out there and absolutely do something that turns the tide in their favor. They could win the turnover battle. It could very well be that Jalen Hurts struggles to throw the ball consistently well from the pocket. That would imply that Florida State is able to keep him in the pocket and make him beat him as a passer. I think that's the trick here. Can you do that? Well, I think most teams knew last year that's what they had to do. It's easier said than done. And they weren't able to do that. So there are question marks for Alabama. And I think if I'm an Alabama fan, looking at some of the guys who got to replace on the defensive side, I might be a little worried. But, we're now asking, simultaneous with that, you're asking Florida State to turn to some receivers that haven't had to be the guy. Turn to receivers that you're asking now to step up and make big plays against the best defense they're going to face all year. And in game one, do that with an offensive line that you're a little uncertain about. All of that spells trouble to me. Doesn't mean they can't overcome it. If Alec Eberle is really, really good and is a different player than the guy we saw a year ago, which I've said on this show could very well be possible. It could be possible, though, the guy we saw last year, with all of the injuries that he had to overcome and the surgery that he had that's allowed him to get in the weight room and get stronger and to have more flexibility and to be able to bend, he could be an entirely different player. And I'll grant you, if that's the case, and we've solved our problem at center, which you've certainly been wringing your hands about for some time now.
Absolutely.
If that problem is solved at center and he's good, not just better, but like really good, all right. And if you tell me then that Derek Kelly is the guy that was an emerging starter, consistent starter before he had the knee injury back as a redshirt freshman, and he too is leaps and bounds better, then oh my goodness, I've miscalculated. And I'll cop to it. I'll say it. I'll sit there and I'll watch that line of scrimmage and I'll go, Derek Kelly is winning his fair share of battles. Alec Eberle looks like a guy they should absolutely have faith in. Well, if that happens, then it could be a very different game. You're going to have to show me.
I think the frustrating part for those who are thinking like me is it does sound like you'll be shocked if we win. Because if you think we're going to lose by 2 scores, then how are you not shocked if we win the ball game?
Well, because I think it's a close game into the second half. I think we get worn down. I don't think we do enough consistently on offense, and I think eventually that defense is out there too much, and so the score gets it doesn't tell the story. I think that's how.
Okay.
I think it's a close game, and then eventually you get worn. I've seen Bama do that to too many teams where, if you didn't watch the game and you were looking on from afar and the score crawl came across and you saw, oh God, man, Bama's up 38-10. That's not much of a game. And then you go back and you look and you're like, well, it was a 7-point game with 5 minutes to play in the third quarter. Those are two,
right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
It happens. So, especially with them, it happens. I've just noticed that over the years. They wear you down, man. They're big, they're strong, they've got a stable of running backs, plus they run their quarterback. And I just feel like it's very, very physical. And if you can't match that. Now, I do think Bama's depth of talent really isn't applicable here. It doesn't matter that their third string is better than everybody else in the country's third string. This is a one-game one-off. Where it matters is the war of attrition that football seasons are, and by week 6 and 7, when everybody's nursing bruises, they're turning to guys that were five-star wonders that would be starting anywhere else if they weren't a backup at Alabama. It doesn't matter necessarily in game one.
Is envisioning Alabama's offensive line winning the battle against our defensive line a new development for you?
It's
because that, to me, out of all the things, beyond maybe the margin, because now that you've explained it, that makes total sense. There are games that aren't representative of the final score.
All the
and
time.
if you saw the box score, then
Yeah,
that's not going to tell you the truth.
Right.
However, given what our D-line is, that is a bit surprising. That kind of
I think I can
hit me off guard a little bit.
I think I can tell you why that maybe there's a hint of being a little jaded there. There's some cynicism in that. I just remember our talking points a year ago, man. I just remember thinking we really didn't think we were going to have to worry about the defense going into this game last year. And in the end, we really ended up having to worry about the defense more than almost anything else. We came into the season last year thinking, well, redshirt freshman quarterback, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be tough. It's tough on him. I mean, hell of a schedule. And then, next thing you know, we were sitting there scared to death that our defense couldn't line up properly. So
right, singing 12's praises after game one.
Yeah, we were talking about how tough he was and the big throws he had to make and all that good stuff. And I thought to myself, well, that's interesting. Again, I made certain assumptions, and it's not always fair to do that. And I know that Alabama's had to replace some guys, but they're talented. And I just think of guys like Raekwon Davis, and I think of Alabama's defense as a whole, and I realize that no matter what they've had to replace, they always seem to do it seamlessly. It's like Florida State in the 90s, where we just reloaded. Like when you were a knowledgeable fan, somebody from outside would be like, whoa, well, they lost 5 or 6 really talented guys, but you knew because you had gotten a glimpse in all these blowouts in the second half of the talent that was lying in wait, and you go, that's all right. They're going to be starting him next year. Don't worry about that. Raynard Wilson will be coming in for him. He's pretty freaking good. You'd see these things, and I just am assuming, maybe unfairly, but I don't think that Alabama slipped up along the way and had one year where they recruited a bunch of slappies. I mean, they likely have some badasses about to fill the shoes of the badasses that just left.
Man.
I'm not trying to bring you down on a Tuesday.
Oh, well.
I just said that when we do W's and L's next week, the only thing that isn't going to change, and it hasn't changed all summer, by the way. I didn't say something new today. I just said I was picking Alabama in that first game, and as I sit here today on the 22nd, I still feel like I'm going to pick Alabama next week when we do W's and L's. That's nothing new. Don't take this as Cameron's just being – it's nothing new.
It's an ass kicking with that Alabama A, capitalized.
Hey, so, we have to define our terms then. We're going to have to define what is an ass kicking. Jeff Cameron, Show 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin, Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
And to file a claim, go to AutoAirbagSettlement.com or call 1-888-735-5596. That's AutoAirbagSettlement.com or 1-888-735-5596.
Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina, and presented by Hobbit American Grill, locally owned and operated since 1978.
Wonder what the outrageously energizing experience of Mountain Dew Kickstart is like? Well, it's like a combo of three awesome things. Dew, juice, and caffeine, rebooting your entire personal operating system.
Mountain Dew Kickstart is in position for consumption. All systems cleared for launch. Initiate launch sequence. T-minus 3, 2, 1, mark. Release the Mountain Dew Kickstart. Mountain Dew Kickstart released. Experiencing a charge of Mountain Dew Kickstart now.
Mountain Dew Kickstart operation successful.
You are now off the couch and out exploring the world.
Roger that. Get charged up for what's coming next anytime, anywhere with Mountain Dew Kickstart. Available in 10 energizing flavors like mango lime, raspberry citrus, midnight grape, and orange citrus. Mountain Dew Kickstart. Fuel with flavor.
RCD Shell knows how to keep you cool and refreshed. All 20-ounce Pepsi and Mountain Dew products are 2 for $2.22. That's right, 2 for $2.22. And 28-ounce Gatorade is buy one, get one free. It's more fun with Pepsi and Dew, so bring on the bubbles with these cool prices at RCD Shell.
Bama versus FSU.
Down the sidelines. Touchdown. Seminoles. Rumbling all the way to the end zone. Touchdown. Bama.
ESPN Tallahassee's Jeff Cameron is headed to Atlanta for Bama Beatdown. Brought to you by Fred Conrad, criminal defense lawyer. Remember, don't blow it. Call 222-4005.
The Ford Summer Sales Event is in full swing.
All right, man. 7 ballparks in 7 days. Here we go.
I've got my maps.
You don't need them. Huh? I got a nav system. See, you can even pinch to zoom. Look at.
And with available Sync 3 and voice-activated navigation, Ford Fusion has the tech to get you there and back.
Okay, you're holding that map upside down, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I thought Indiana looked strange.
Take on summer right with Ford, America's best-selling brand, during the Ford Summer Sales Event. Get 0% APR financing for 72 months on select Fusion, Escape, Edge, and Explorer models. Plus, get $1,000 on top of your trade-in. Offer ends August 22nd. Best selling based on current year 2016 sales. Don't drive while distracted. Use voice-operated systems when possible. Don't use handheld devices while driving. Not all buyers qualify for Ford credit financing. 72 months at $13.89 per month per $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Trade Assist Cash requires trade-in of 95 or newer vehicle or lease terminated 30 days prior to or 90 days after new retail delivery. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for complete details. Take delivery from dealer stock by August 22nd, 2017.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Right now, more tests scheduled today for Giants receiver Odell Beckham Jr.'s sprained ankle. There remains reason for optimism. Beckham injured on a low hit in last night's NFL preseason game. X-rays were negative. Giants receiver Brandon Marshall, who exited that game in the third quarter with a shoulder issue, sent a text message to ESPN's Adam Schefter that he'll be fine. Texans coach Bill O'Brien announced Tom Savage is their starting quarterback. USC quarterback Sam Darnold and Penn State running back Saquon Barkley highlight the first ever Associated Press preseason All-America team. Baseball, the Indians will evaluate reliever Andrew Miller today. He aggravated the patellar tendonitis in his right knee just days after returning from the disabled list for that same injury. Manager Terry Francona says it's likely that Miller returns to the DL. Mavericks guard Dennis Smith Jr. voted as most likely to win NBA Rookie of the Year in a survey of 39 rookies conducted by NBA.com. He received nearly 26% of the vote. The Lakers' Lonzo Ball, second most with 20%, and the Sixers' Markelle Fultz, first overall pick, finished third in voting with just over 17%.
It's time to start getting the absolute best sleep of your life. Check out Reverie and see why so many former Sleep Number and Tempur-Pedic owners are making the switch to a better night's sleep. Go to tryrev.com/ESPN. Tryrev.com/ESPN.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Lawn Maintenance Tuesday, presented by Miller's Tree Service. Call Miller's today at 894-TREE. That's 894-8733.
I think some people are under the impression that while I am paid for my opinion, if that opinion does not align with theirs, then I am absolutely no longer worthy of retaining my Knoll card. That's it. I'm picking the team that Vegas is picking to beat Florida State, and by doing so, I'm some sort of hater. I'm akin to Paul Feinbaum himself. I've picked against Florida State before in games, guys. It's happened. There have been games where I've said on the air, I think Florida State's going to get blown out. There are times, too, where I've said Vegas is crazy. Florida State's going to win this game. Going to win it going away. See Florida State traveling to Clemson in the 51 to whatever the hell that was beatdown. I mean, I'm attempting to just be square with you, man. I don't think Florida State beats Bama. I do think Florida State has a great year. It's okay. It's all right.
Guess we'll just all stay home. You know what? Don't even get on the plane, guys. Don't go. Forget it.
I mean, it's funny. James writes, at Jay Cameron Show, Bama beatdown on this show sounds like Knowles beatdown. You also, don't get twisted what I hope happens and what I think happens. I hope Florida State beats Alabama by 49.
Sounds like you're going to marvel at Alabama's greatness as they're beating us.
I hope Florida State runs away with it and stuns the college football viewing world with a lopsided victory over mighty Alabama, the preseason ranked #1 team in the land. That'd be great. That'd be awesome, and I would celebrate it probably, if not equal to, more than the vast majority of my fellow Knowles. But that's not what we're doing here, man.
First show after the game. Boy, Alabama's impressive, aren't they? My goodness. We should all aspire to be like Alabama.
Well, now hold on. Everybody who plays college football should indeed currently aspire to be more like Alabama. There's nothing wrong with that statement. 10 years in a row, at some point in the season, they have been ranked #1. The greatest streak of its kind. That doesn't mean I wish that I covered Alabama, were an Alabama Crimson Tide, or any of those other things, but rather I'm objective and can see what the kind of consistency they bring to the table earns them. Mighty praise, annoyingly so, warranted, however.
Gary Danielson was right about Tebow and Cam Newton, but Gary Danielson was more than happy to share how he felt about that.
There we go.
No need to unbuckle.
I can't. You're going to make me go all in the other way. I'm just going to start telling everybody how bad Bama's going to beat that ass. So, Tally Boy 73 writes, it's okay to pick Bama, but damn, man, the poor mouthing like you guys cover Rutgers. I have not said that. There's nothing about that. You know, Florida State fans are the best. I love you guys in every sense of the word. My fellow Knowles are awesome, but this is a little bit like the Big Brother situation, right? Where you and I can say anything we want about our older brother or younger brother, right? And we can pick on him and we can get after him. But if anybody outside the family does, oh, hey, now, hold on. Even if they say exactly what you just said about your brother, there's a line in the sand you do not cross. I can do this. You can't. You're outside the family. That's what this feels like a little bit, that the Florida State fans that email this show or tweet this show on a regular basis are forever lamenting that they're complaining about the offensive line not being an elite offensive line, not up to standard, not championship caliber consistently enough. Why do we always have to answer these questions? Last year, those same fans were livid with Charles Kelly, who has not once but multiple times shown us that he isn't always up to task with the players he has to field a defense of a championship caliber level. And then if I point those things out as potential foibles in a matchup against the number one team in the country, I'm some sort of traitor that should be shipped off to Siberia or at least Tuscaloosa. You know what I mean? Those are my concerns. I just cited them. They're the very concerns of every Florida State fan I know, but by saying them aloud, somehow I've betrayed Florida State, as if it's our job to come on here and just cheerlead.
Well, I can tell you where you hurt my heart when I was waving the flag with the logo. Not the old logo, but, the logo.
The ACC logo?
No.
Oh, sorry.
The logo, not the old logo. The superior logo.
Yeah. Our logo.
Yeah, people forgot about the old logo, as they should have. And where you hurt my heart was when he said, well, I think Alabama's going to win this game, and I think they're going to win it significantly.
Convincingly. Did I say significantly or convincingly?
Sorry, I might be getting the word
wrong. I see how this is working.
No, the tone with which you said it, I captured. He said, and what's more?
I was stating, confidently so, my opinion as to what I think is going to happen in the game, which is that Alabama is going to win the game. And I think by more than a touchdown.
What have we done wrong here in Tallahassee? What are we not doing well enough? Have we not loved the Jeff Cameron Show?
What the hell does that have to do with anything? Here's the deal. Here's the thing. When we started camp and Jimbo Fisher got up there and said what he did about the offensive line, and I remember we kind of looked at each other, as did
Rick Leonard, you talking?
Yes. So when that happened, you didn't think in the moment that, that's kind of odd. It sounds like maybe there's some uncertainty with the offensive line.
What the hell happened to Ball and Williams?
Yeah, you voiced this very concern, did you not? It bothered you.
It did.
Okay, so
it still does.
Well, apparently not. It doesn't bother you in the slightest. You've learned to just gloss on over it. Like everything's going to be all right because you want it to.
No, well, here's what I learned last year is that, even with a sorry offensive line, below average offensive line, we go toe-to-toe with Clemson. Should have beat Clemson right here in Doak Campbell.
Yeah, and Clemson beat Alabama. I know what we're doing here. Did you not watch some of the other games in which that doesn't matter at all and we got our ass beat?
Yeah, they occurred in September. We played Clemson in November. We were growing.
So
we were
early in the year, where we struggled is where we also on the calendar play this game.
That's
early
true.
in the year.
Mm-hmm. Thankfully, it's a year later. It's not 2016. It's 2017. All I'm saying is it sounds like it's a foregone conclusion sometimes on the other end of the glass, and that's where it hurts. Is it a foregone conclusion? Can't be.
It's not a foregone conclusion. Florida State could win the game, which I also stated quite clearly more than once.
It's like a footnote.
I said, there are games. Let me give you an example. When Duke plays Alabama in one of these, and they will, and they are. Is that next year or the year after, whenever it is? We've seen that's.
Oh, yeah. I forgot they signed up.
All right. So here you go. I'm going to give you an example. When Duke plays Alabama in one of these, I'm going to state emphatically, they have zero chance to win the game. No chance to win that game against Alabama. Zero. They cannot win that game. They can't. That's one of those matchups. We're not that. We absolutely could win this game. And if certain things play out a little bit differently than I currently think they will, or am predicting that they will, then Florida State will win the game. Florida State has the requisite skill and talent, starter for starter, to give themselves a chance to beat the number one ranked team in the country. Absolutely. And oh, by the way, when Florida State was the most dominant team in the country, in 2013, when I came back from Pitt, the game I went to with my dad, Jameis Winston's debut, where the only question we had was whether or not Jameis Winston, under the lights, live bullets, would turn out to be the guy we had seen in practice and in the spring game and everything else and was touted to be. And we thought he would be. We thought he'd be really good, but we weren't sure. You can never really know. Even Lawrence Dawsey said that when we talked to him. Can't really know until it's live. So I go to that game, sit on the 50 with my dad, watch that near perfect performance. I came back and went on the air and said, that's a national championship caliber team. Florida State could win the national championship. Each subsequent week when they began to dominate, we said more and more, that guy, that kid right there is going to be the first pick in the draft. I kept saying that over and over again, way before the following year, even before 2014. I said, don't listen to what these guys are talking about with off the field and all that. He'll go number one. They're loaded. Florida State's the best team in the country. He's going to win the Heisman. Every week I was predicting 30 and 40 and 50-point ass beatings. So when it's warranted, we do that. When it's not, when you have some question marks, you bring it up. Alabama's the number one ranked team in the country for a reason. There's a reason Vegas has them favored to win the game. It doesn't mean it will happen that way. It doesn't mean Florida State can't win it. It just means that, as I sit here today, with the question marks we have and the consistency with which Alabama plays year in and year out, I'm picking Alabama. Can Florida State win? Yes. It's not the same as like when Duke plays Alabama in a year or two. They can't. They cannot win it. Oh, Florida State is one of those teams that most certainly can. And it wouldn't be all that shocking. Let me just say that again. I think when I was describing, I think I know what hurt people's heart. When I was describing that I thought Alabama would win the game convincingly, and I talked about how a score could turn into a number that certainly reads from afar as an ugly result, people were like, whoa, 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 Cameron. You're starting to talk about 3 touchdowns, 17, 21, 24 points.
Exactly.
Where are we going here? And then I described a scenario by which that could happen. You know, I said, hey, you could be right there. You could have a tie ball game in the middle of the third quarter that ends up being a 3-score game. We see it all the time. Bama's depth, Bama's talent wears people down. May not matter as much here because, again, it is a one-off. It is a one game, one-time thing. Maybe that happens. Sure hope so. Sure hope so.
I think Nole fans can accept a punch to the face, but they just don't like being, thrown about in a back alley and have a crowbar taken to their ribs. Their legs broken and shattered, because that's what it sounds like.
Let me tell you something.
It sounds more like the latter than the former.
I don't think so. I disagree. I think people hear what they want to hear, and especially they hear what they want to hear when it pisses them off. Then they hear it amplified, times 10, and they walk around thinking, that's son of a bitch Cameron. So that's how that works.
Verbatim.
I got you. I got it. People just called in and told the people that take our phone calls on this show to tell me that I'm an a-hole. We had multiple calls of people calling in to say that.
Hashtag a-hole.
And we had people, you tell that dumbass. I love it. And I'm not doing it to make you angry. Believe me, I'm not. But it does let me know that football's back. This makes my day. It lets me know we are back. The mindsets have shifted from the lazy summer to the intensity of fall football. It is upon us now. The anger, the seething anger that is always just underneath the surface for people who say something you mildly disagree with. When that happens in June, screw it. I got clients to get to. When it happens in August, you tell that dumb son of a bitch something for me.
Sir, who are you picking? Well, I'm picking Bama, but it's not going to be an ass beating.
He makes it sound like we're just some also-rans like Wake. We ain't Wake.
Hurts. Just still hurts a little bit.
Go Noles. Go Noles, everybody. Go Noles, baby. Go Noles. Seminole Headlines next.